Ta 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 ta. Hello again, hello again, hello again. This is your host, RHJunior, coming to you live on the interwebs for Spleen Squeezins, the show that not only is about nothing, but has nothing to justify it. Alright, it's me, my artwork, my really, really loud music. I'll turn that down a little bit. Sorry, Mozart. Love you. But you're a little loud. Bloop, bop, doop, flidoop, 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 doop, 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 doop. Okay, I am sorry. I have been basically off the map for the past 5 days. I have been, let's face it, regardless of the reasons, it comes down to being irresponsible. So I do apologize for that, but I am back. Well, what can be said? Okay, got a new chapter. Haven't gotten much done. A new chapter, a Great Alicorn Hunt. Just another fan fiction chapter. Whoopty. I'm sure you're thrilled to death. Whoopty freaking do. But you come here for the comics. You come here for the love, for the art, for the. Okay, don't know if you're there, don't know if you're listening, but hi, I'm back. Uh, Sorry, I have been absent the past few days. It's been one thing after another mostly, but I just Thanksgiving, and then I've been absent since Thanksgiving. It's that simple, and yeah, not much else I can say to that. Originally I started this whole show, well, among other things, in the hopes that it would generate a little more revenue, but and a little more business, and also to try and put myself on a regular schedule of doing my artwork and working on commissions and that sort of thing, and have me, there, right? And I don't know. I'm starting to wonder if maybe I'd be. I don't know. I find myself using it. Oh, I'm not using. I'm sitting there thinking maybe I should work on this, and I go, oh well, I'm not doing the show yet, and well, I don't know. One of the things I've learned about myself is that, at least in my case, I can't trick myself into being responsible. Trying to psych myself out doesn't work. And for those who are listening, okay, got a couple new chapters. There's a new chapter up of the Great Alicorn Hunt. There is that. And let's see here. Open Manga Studio. So I got an audience of one at the moment. So who's listening? Shout out your names. Tell me who you are. Okay, let's say okay. Topics. The recent season finale for My Little Pony. It was quite good, actually. It was quite interesting. Uh, Up until the ending. The way that it was resolved was complete garbage. Okay, the premise was is that it's the return of Starlight Shimmer, and she gets even. She decides to get even with Twilight Sparkle by using the crystal map and and modifying uh, Star Swirl the Bearded's time travel spell. She went back in time and stopped uh, Rainbow Dash from ever making the sonic rain boom, and so the friends never formed up. And it basically consists of Twilight and Starlight Shimmer bouncing back and forth through time between that point and alternate futures, and every time and constantly trying. And well, anyway, instead of defeating uh, Starlight Glimmer, she talks her down, basically. At this point, Starlight Glimmer, Twilight Sparkle has taken Starlight Glimmer to one of the alternate futures. In this one, there's literally nothing left of Equestria. It's just a blasted wasteland. And despite seeing that, Starlight Glimmer refuses to believe. Despite seeing what the results will be, she still goes back in time and tries it again. Tries to stop Twilight Sparkle and her friends from ever meeting. And Twilight Sparkle does the usual friendship. Friendship is magic. Uh, uh, you know, cool down. Don't you want to be a friend? Speech. And Starlight Glimmer surrenders in a big old puddle of tears, and this episode has been the pinnacle of zero cost villainy, easy forgiveness. Now this is a hard thing to address because as a Christian, forgiveness is desperately important to us. We depend upon the forgiveness of God Almighty for a sin debt, that is absolutely unpayable. And so the importance of unconditional forgiveness is self-evident. But this isn't what we're seeing here. This isn't what the show is bringing out. Uh, what we're seeing here is foolish forgiveness. It started all the way back when they did the Discord Reform episode. Uh, when basically, for no reason at all, they gave Discord a complete pardon, which they've done it twice. He's a three-strike loser, let's face it, and yet he's gotten off effectively scot-free uh, for nearly destroying Equestria 3 different times. We may be one of the way my father always put it is that even though Christians do forgive in this life, there are still consequences. You may forgive someone for breaking a window, but the broken glass still needs to be swept up. The window pane still needs to be replaced, and there are consequences. In other words, now I'll say this much for the Equestria Girls movies: they made the reform of Sunset Shimmer much more believable because Sunset Shimmer in the second movie, uh, she had a tough row to hoe. uh, she had to earn back the trust that she had broken. She did not essentially get off scot free. She was forgiven and not punished as severely as she could have been, but she still had uh, she had to win back the trust of her schoolmates and her classmates and prove her sincerity. And whether or not forgiven, it is a daily effort to be a better person than you were before. I think what I'm saying is that there's a certain conflict here between the part of me that says the part of me that says that Christian forgiveness is supposed to be unconditional. And if our brother offends us, when he returns to us asking forgiveness, we forgive him 70 times 7, as Christ said it. And at the same time, we see that there has to be a balancing of the scales in this, in this time, in this place, in this life. There has to be a balancing of the scales. That there have to be consequences. And then we know that and we know from practical real life experience, people who commit terrible misdeeds and who receive a slap on the wrist or easy forgiveness uh, are inclined to become worse than they were before. Hello, Final Legend Zero. Welcome aboard. I wish this chat window told me what time people posted these statements so I could tell how long you've been listening. Okay, according to this, we got 3 people in the channel. Talking briefly about this week's season finale. I don't know. I don't know. It's the triteness with which they treated uh, which with they treated Starlight Glimmer's heel face turn or turning over a new leaf and all that. I don't. You could get a real a real theological debate going over this. Christians are faced with something of a paradox in this life, is that at the same time that we must believe in absolute unconditional forgiveness, that we believe in absolute forgiveness, at the same time, uh, we are called on to believe in injustice, uh, in the importance of society justly punishing those who do wrong. And it takes a great deal of profound thought and analysis and consideration to come to a real understanding between why this is not a contradiction. I feel that the debate is beyond me personally, theologically speaking. You would need a much more devout and uh, scholarly and studied student of the Bible than a schlub like me to hit on how do you strike a balance between the need for justice in this life and the demand for forgiveness by that which waits beyond this life. But speaking only as I can understand, what they're showing in this show is it's not a good message for kids. It's not. That you can commit any crime, no matter how horrible, and all you have to say is, I'm so very sorry, and they should just let it go as if nothing had ever happened. There is no sentence of all the elements of harmony that they talk about on that show. The one that's missing the most, I say, is the one that is missing the most is justice, a sense of justice. the equestrian philosophy is all, the way the show is presented. It's all about kindness and forgiveness, but there is no uh, justice. The Cutie Mark Crusaders, they are mercilessly bullied for 5 years, and the one time they fight back, they get condemned as bullies. Discord, the original definition of a three-strike loser. He nearly caused the destruction of Equestria 3 times. Once thousands of years ago, uh, twice when he first escaped, and the third time when he betrayed all of Equestria and sided with Tyrek. And and no matter how he behaves in the show, he's never held even realistically accountable. Babs Seed bullied her own cousin right in her own home and never even got so much as a scolding for it. Diamond Tiara, Silver Spoon, like I said again, the other side of this a lifetime of cruelty to other children, and they just one day they up and announce, "Oh, I'm a nice pony now," and everything, and it's as if nothing had ever happened. Never held accountable. And now the ultimate, and yeah, the ultimate example is now Starlight Glimmer. She literally enslaved and brainwashed an entire town, stole their cutie marks, kidnapped the main six. Basically, she kidnapped royalty. That's like beheading time anywhere else. She and then she tried to make sure that none of them ever got their cutie marks back again. And then when that didn't work, she comes back, uh, uses time travel to try and nearly destroys Equestria half a dozen times over. Uh, but because she said she was so very sorry, everybody was instantly became best friends with her. And no payment, no punishment was named, no payment was demanded, no accountability was made, was called for. Only God can judge the sincerity of someone's conversion or repentance or change of heart, or however you want to put it. A society has a duty to judge people's actions and demand recompense accordingly. one of the thing, one of the things, one of the things that children desperately need to believe in, they need to believe that there is such a thing as justice. Life is a very cruel place, and many of the illusions we have about things like justice in life will eventually be well broken by time and experience and put back together. If and if we are smart, will be bandaged back together to be stronger for it. A child needs to know that his parents are fair, that his teachers are fair, that the rules he is expected to live by apply to every child. It's one of the things that kids cry out for the most. They don't understand it, but they do understand the concept of not fair. And it's kind of galling to me that this children's show, beings that have nearly turned Equestria into a wasteland have suffered less punishment than the Cutie Mark Crusaders did for leaving the house without permission. Oh, you remember the Trouble Shoes episode? It ended with them being made to clean up the entire, clean up everything after the rodeo by themselves as punishment for running off without permission. Discord didn't even get that much punishment. What's the lesson that kids are going to learn here? The first thing they're going to learn is that what they learn is that if you're a really cool popular villain, you'll get a free pass. You can be the worst person in history, but if you're cool and and popular and sexy enough, uh, you know, hey, free pass for you. I have no idea what a Redfield plugin is. Here, looking at stuff. The question about where justice, uh, where where the valuing of justice and the valuing of Christian forgiveness, uh, how those two seemingly contradictory concepts dovetail, that's beyond me to analyze or talk about or even much less teach. But it's foolish to think that they are not. I can accept this as an article of faith. They are not mutually exclusive. Our God is a just God. He is also a merciful God. Those things are not mutually exclusive. And if they are not mutually exclusive for Him, then they are not mutually exclusive for His children. Okay, Kruger, it looks like I'm going to have to start over from scratch on one of your drawings here. The computer frickin' ate it. Scrambled the files somehow. Dadgummit. Excuse me, chewing. I'm chewing gummy bears, in case you're wondering. Well, I'm on another round of antibiotics. Went to the doctor today. Another infection, blah, blah, blah. That's a consequence of having lymphedema in your legs. You know, the swelling in my legs isn't the only problem. Um, Comes with a host of other issues like, well, infections. Particularly cellulitis. Cellulitis. I don't know if that's cellulitis or cellulitis. I keep forgetting, but it causes sort of a bumpy rash and seeping sores. Is you know not pleasant to talk about, but it sounds worse than it really is. It's just for those who missed the announcement, there is a new chapter of the Great Alcorn Hunt on there. You know, I picked up a cheap dirt, a dirt cheap copy, one of those $2 promotional thingies they did at Walmart. Copy of Godzilla, the big Mondo huge epic. What was it? Year 2013? Was it last year or the year before? Well, anyway, got me a copy of it, watched it. Uh, Same problems. Same problems as I noticed last time. Uh, it takes half an hour for Godzilla to even show up in his own movie. They spend more time showcasing those giant bugs they called mutos. And come on, dude, if you want to go out and make movies for the Sci-Fi Channel about your giant cockroaches from under the ground, just go do it. We're here to see Godzilla, not your babies. Do you get what I'm saying here? Uh, The guys that made the movie were too busy trying to show off their new creation. And so we spend half an hour watching, where they go. They make the same mistake, and when it comes to the human characters in the movie, they can't make up their mind who they're following. Look, in the American version of the original Godzilla, you knew who the focus character was. What's his name? The American actor. I can't remember his name. I think his last performance was as that giant planet-eating robot. uh, what was his name? Well, anyway, they stayed focused on him. They didn't drift all over the dang map. But when they started out, they had Liam Neeson. Who was it? Was it Liam Neeson playing the scientist, the haggard scientist who'd lost his wife in the nuclear power plant? And this guy was dramatic. He was gripping. He had the stage. I mean, when he spoke, when he talked about, this thing is going to put us back into the Stone Age, and he would, you figure he was it. He was the focus character, and he dies not even a third of the way into the movie. And so we end up following his swashbuckling soldier son all over the map, literally. We go from Japan to San Francisco to Japan to Hawaii to someplace God knows where in the American desert, all the way to San Francisco. Uh, and even then, we're really not paying attention to him because we're stopping to look off at every other thing. The random cute kid, the dog, uh, chained up watching the incoming tidal wave, and all this other crap. Uh, they and just too much time building up and not enough time with the Monster Smackdown. Nobody comes to a Godzilla movie to watch a human actor monologue. And from the perspective of 2015, yeah, I appreciate our American troopers and soldiers as much as anybody. And our veterans, God bless them. And our servicemen and servicewomen are out there protecting this country the best they can. Even though they've got a circus clown for a commander in chief at the moment, they're out there busting it up, doing, risking their lives. I say salute. But once in a while, I mean, not every movie has to have the. In this movie, I don't know. I would have been more interested following either the harried widower who had been trying to prove the existence of the monsters, or the Japanese scientist. Uh, either one. Just following them. But no, we follow the soldier. Not that the soldier's story was bad, but it wasn't a Godzilla movie. For a Godzilla movie, it's not about somebody who has the protagonist is not somebody who can call down a military airstrike on what's bothering him. I think I'm saying is that it's the Godzilla movies are all about ordinary people caught in the midst of an extraordinary catastrophe. Uh, well, let the oxygen destroyer and all that. Forget it. Forget it. Let's not retread old ground here. I love how in the original movie the scientist kills himself to keep them from getting the terrible secret of the oxygen destroyer, which could be used as a horrible weapon of war. And I'm like, how the heck uh, do you use a weapon? How the heck do you use something like that as a weapon of war against anything that isn't a fish? I mean, it didn't even damage the boat he was on. If you live in a country that depends a lot for a lot on for fish a lot for food, I suppose that'd be a real problem. But still, it's not on the same uh, level as having an atomic bomb land on your face. Can you dig what I'm saying here? That's bothering me. What I was saying earlier about the episode, the season closer for My Little Pony. The issue of forgiveness. It's a troublesome question. Because after all, make all the platitudes you want, but you either forgive somebody or you punish them. We want to see justice. We want to see retribution. We want to see people who do evil pay for it. Is that unchristian? That is a very hard question. And and any trite phrase, oh well, yes, but it's human. That doesn't help. The is it? Should we be doing it? Should we be demanding justice, or should we be demanding forgiveness? When our society lets uh, rapists and killers run free, what are we supposed to do? What is the Christian thing to do to amend it? source of pain. It's a source of constant pain, especially in light of many verses that say that we are forgiven as we forgive. Not slinky enough. More work on the pen work. Oh my. I'm not certain how long I will be on tonight or how long I will continue. We will continue for as long as I maintain. I have to get into the habit of drawing whether or not I'm online. That's the thing. Letting my own lackadaisical attitude infest everything. Can't put up with that anymore. been burning the candle at both ends to no good end for the past couple of days. I was up all night last night, and yeah, so I'm feeling a little peaked. That plus now I'm having to chalk pills. Uh, like I said, I came down with an infection of cellulitis. That's it's a thing with my lymphedema, the thingamajiggies in my leg. They can get infected easily, and particularly catch cellulitis slide. Basically, just skin blisters. You get itching, burning sensation, just infection in the legs. So I'm taking antibiotics every 8 hours, and I'm also taking a probiotic once a day. And basically, I guess the doctor basically wants him to duke it out inside me. Uh, Antibiotic and probiotic together in a single match. Ding, ding, ding. It's like Rock'em Sock'em Robots for your colon. Yeah, they've badly nerfed Twilight Sparkle. I mean, they didn't want to make her so powerful that the others didn't matter. But that's where good writing comes in. Uh, Look, when you have one character who is much more powerful than all the others, it's writing that makes the difference. You show that in many situations it's not a matter of raw power or sheer strength. That's why Batman and Superman hang out together. And as for her being overpowered, they really should have made a point. They should have had one of them say that she's running circles around us. She has the upper hand. She made the first move, and now we're having to just establish that it wasn't because she was magically more powerful. It's because she was starting out one step ahead of Twilight and Spike. That was the least of my beefs with that story. They could also make a point that nobody seemed to notice that Twilight Sparkle, the alicorn, was standing right in front of them. The kids at flight camp didn't notice. Nightmare Moon didn't notice. Uh, the rebels fighting, the soldiers fighting King Sombra didn't notice. On and on and on and on and on. But that's bit point stuff. The big problem with it was the moral message. Is that only well, basically it boils down to what they've inadvertently said over the past 5 seasons is only the little people pay for the crimes they commit. Every time the Cutie Mark Crusaders make a mistake, there's karma there to beat them over the head with a baseball bat. The Gabby Gums story, uh, the time that Sweetie Belle got jealous of Rarity. Uh, any and every time that the Cutie Mark Crusaders did something wrong or made a mistake, the consequences landed on them with both feet, even when they were not really at fault, like with Babs Seed. But everybody else, uh, it's rather tragic that Discord paid less of a penalty for his misdeeds than the Cutie Mark Crusaders did. So what does that say? It says the popular kids are going to get off. The rich kids are going to get off. This is the lesson that there is no justice. It all matters on how liked or popular or famous your the criminal in question is. The magical O.J. Simpson's invisible force field. They have forgiveness in their society, which is a good thing, but they do not have justice. The squishy, the squishy, uh, touchy-feely social justice, progressive ideology of our society today is to blame for that, so far as the writing that's done in the show is concerned. And I think that is going. They've burned a lot of bridges behind them. It's going to be very hard for them to ever establish the idea that if they ever decide to, again, they're not going to be able to establish the idea in the show that actions have consequences without everybody that's watching going, yeah, right. Considering that the worst villains in their society are enjoying a slap on the wrist parole. This made me angry about this made me angry about Babs Seed, is that despite all that she had done, all they had to do was give her a little sob story about how she was bullied, and suddenly that was supposed to make it irrelevant that she was a bully too. The moral clarity on the issue of oh darn it. the moral clarity on the issue of bullying has never been very good, even at the best of times. So there you have it. But my taskbar at my computer's taskbars somehow switched over from one side to the other. I'm trying to figure out how to move it back. Here, let me show you here. It's just well, you can see. So somehow it went up here to the side, and I can't figure out how to move it back. Do any of you know how to move the bottom, the taskbar in? I can do that. I can't figure out how to move it. I can change its size, but I can't move it. Yeah, that's about the that's I'll give them that on the movies that when Sunset Shimmer you know lost, she ended up having to pay a cost for it. She had to, she was punished, and then she had to uh, go the long way around, re-earning, or earning the respect of her classmates. Ah, that worked. Thank you. Took me for stupid thing. Uh, there is something increasingly wrong with my Firefox. Uh, I don't know. I don't know what to think. I don't know what's wrong, and I don't know how to fix it. And I'll probably have to start using. see here. Uh, I think maybe Terry Pratchett had something of a point when he had there was one book where the three witches of Lancre were dealing with a vampire invasion, and she was talking to a priest of Om, and the priest said something along the lines of, they were not supposed to judge; they were supposed to forgive. And Granny Weatherwax looked at her and said, no, you judge first. Otherwise, you don't know what it is you're forgiving them for. It's an interesting perspective, at least. What we have in our society today isn't forgiveness, it's free license. In order to forgive somebody of something, there first has to come an acknowledgement that they did something wrong and that there is a terrible penalty to be enacted for what they did. never really described Cottonmouth uh, when I first introduced. He was just somebody that they mentioned in passing as we haven't really seen him yet. This is his first real actual appearance in the story. Let's see here. I have no idea what I'm looking for. Yay! Uh, focus, focus. Homie needs to focus. I don't know. I wish I had a clue what it is that I need and how I can go about getting it. I read a choose your own adventure type uh, meme once. Had an interesting premise. You would the idea was is that it gave you so many points and you picked out what kind of dragon you were. And one of the premises was is that dragons had several different ways to extend their lifespans to essentially make themselves immortal. One was the uh, doggone it, there goes the music again. Climbing up the ladder. Uh, well, anyway, one of the premises, that a dragon could devour a virgin a year. That the dragon could devour one virgin a year in order to maintain its immortality, to keep, to reverse any aging and to remain immortal. Or they could sleep, hibernate. Uh, uh, I believe it was like for 100 years at a stretch, in order to in order to remain immortal. 1 year out of every 10 they would have to sleep, hibernate. And another premise was is that the reason that, or they could sleep on a gold treasure. And the premise was is that that the reason that dragons kept they could they could become a guardian of a forest or a temple or something like that, or they could sleep on a treasure. And doggone it, Mozart, you dramatic son of a uh, try and talk, and he's like, old Mozart goes, now it's time to crank up the volume. Anyway, the idea was is that the reason that dragons slept on a golden hoard is that as long as they had a golden hoard to sleep on every night, uh, that would keep them from aging. It would, if uh, all they had to do to replenish themselves and restore their use was to go sleep on a hoard of so many, you know, of so much gold. And well, uh, that's an interesting premise, and I can't help but wonder. Think about it, is that they might have been inspired by alchemy to come up with that idea. You see, in traditional alchemy, alchemists were looking for the philosopher's stone. Uh, you know it as the sorcerer's stone from Harry Potter. It was originally called the philosopher's stone. Is the philosopher's stone. Alchemists believed their running theory, their running belief was uh, that gold was a more uh, I'm looking for the word pure form of metal. It was a higher state of being, as it were, for a metal. You had gold, silver, and then you had gold, then you had silver, then you had uh, I forget where copper and iron fell on there, and well, you get the idea, and all the way down to base earth. That gold was like essentially a transcendent metal, if you will. And the reason that the philosopher's stone was supposed to be able to turn base metals into gold was for the same reason that it gave people perpetual youth, is because it was raising transmogrifying the substance or the person to a higher state of being, in a sense. And considering that in most, and as I recall, is in most mythology, dragon's blood was supposed to be one of the ingredients of the philosopher's stone. It's just an odd chain of uh, you know one of those chains of streams of consciousness kind of thinking that struck me one day. That that it was all interconnected. That the philosopher's stone, which supposedly granted perpetual youth, also granted the ability to turn base metals into gold, and that would be tied to the reason that basically immortal dragons slept on a hoard of gold because of its alchemical properties. However you want to pronounce that. Just an interesting concept. Ugh. Okay, we're sort of back to where I was more or less the first time I was doing this drawing. Uh, I'm saving it in two different forms, uh, so this time won't get shafted again. I'm serious. That made me mad. The computer ate the file, and I'm like, Ruby Roo, ain't no fun. Oh my. No, they're not getting back to square one, is it? I like these things. They choose. It's basically like choose your own adventure. But what you're doing is they give you a premise. They give you so many points, and then you run down the list and pick out your character design or whatever from it. And they usually on. I found them on a website called Funny Junk. And they're great fun. Really, an imagination stimulator, I guess you'd call them, because it's fascinating to try and picture. And it gives you all sorts of ideas story wise. Actually, I am never, ever in a million years, I'm never going to be able to even touch a fraction of the story ideas I've had in my life. Not even going to be able to get them sketched down on paper. I regret that. I regret that so much. I regret that so hard that I did not dedicate more of my youth to writing. drawing and writing are my two talents. And when I was young, I got frustrated with how hard it was to get, to just to bludgeon a story into shape. And I gave up on it. I did. And it wasn't until fairly recently, less than a couple of years ago, that, just out of interest in, I realized I had been writing, I'd been doing all these comic strips for years, and then I'd started doing comic books. And then I realized, I'm not too many steps away from doing my own novels. And so I started writing. And I wish uh, good habits, if you want good habits, you need to start them early and you need to work at them and you need to hold on to them and you need to practice them daily when you are young so they become a lifelong thing. I did not, or rather, I developed bad habits uh, at an early age, and I never cleaned them up, never got rid of it, and they have stalked me my entire life. My lack of discipline. I've said this so many times. I say this so many times. If I was given, you recall that the story of King Solomon, that God met him in a dream and said that he was very pleased with Solomon and said, anything you ask one thing. And Solomon asked for wisdom to lead his people. You he asked for wisdom, and if I was presented the same choice, I would ask for something entirely. I would ask for self-discipline. Calvin Coolidge's quote. How is it? Let me look that up. I love this quote, but I can't remember it to save my life verbatim. Uh, there it is. I'm just trying to pull it up here. Coolidge. Calvin Coolidge was probably the last good president, truly good constitutional president we ever had. That's my opinion because he maintained a laissez. He was the last president to maintain laissez-faire attitude towards industry and towards the economy. He damned well knew that it was not the government's job to control the economy. The government's job was to protect the open marketplace from those who would plunder it. That was the end of its responsibility. But this quote by Calvin Coolidge, he says, "Nothing in this world can take the place of persistent. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than the unsuccessful man with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent." The slogan "Press On" has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race. That is so true. There is nothing else that will substitute for cast iron perseverance. And I would sell my internal organs to have been blessed first with the Spirit of God in my life, and second of all with the perseverance of the saints as my lifelong attitude. I would give anything to be able to just set my mind to something and know that I would not falter. But I have spent a lifetime of the exact opposite. Uh, for all that I have struggled, I have never managed to gather together more than a couple of handfuls of annoying stubbornness for certain issues. Everything else in my personal life, my social life, my spiritual life, just I am I struggle continually because I do not have a healthy amount of commitment. When I was a little boy, I folded faster than anyone you could imagine. When I played pee wee football, basketball, baseball, all the little sports, and I had epic levels of giving up. Of course, I'd want to quit. My parents would make me go ahead and stand up in front of a crowd to recite a line from a play, and I'm not strong-willed. Okay, I'm starting to doze off, folks. Starting to feel, just. And my eyes are drifting shut. It's been a short night, I know, but we're getting back up to steam. Tomorrow, I'll be back at 4. I might even be back sooner, I don't know. All depends. But for now, I'm going to call it a night. Catch you tomorrow. God willing, and the creek don't rise. If you get a chance, check out my website, check out the comics, check out fan fiction, check out, and maybe toss a penny in the hat, in the PayPal bin. Uh, hope you'll keep an eye out, and hope you keep me in your prayers. And do ask in all sincerity, pray for me. And good Lord Jesus, watch over me because I need all the prayer that I can get. You just all take care of yourselves. You have yourselves a good night.